We all have guilty pleasures. Somewhere there's a guy, a metalhead with Iron Maiden and Metallica tattoos, who goes home and puts on his headphones and listens to the Beach Boys. Or some old lady who goes to church every Sunday, but she reads 50 Shades of Grey when no one's looking. For me, my guilty pleasure is the Friday the 13th franchise. Let's get with it. What began as a ripoff of Halloween became a phenomenon. Halloween started the slasher boom, but Friday the 13th set the genre rules. I grew up with these flicks. My mom wanted me to like Disney, but it didn't take. Jason, Freddy, and Michael were my Mickey, Goofy, and Donald. Jason, oh sweet Jason. I have loved this guy my whole life. Not as much as Michael Myers, but he's a solid number 2 for me. And he has over 100 confirmed kills. Eat your heart out, Bundy. Think of him as a dumber but more brutal version of Michael Myers. And guess what? He's not here. Yeah, we horror veterans know that already, but you'd be surprised how many people don't. And people don't know that it was his mama who was the killer in this one. Jason was a chip off the old block. His mom is one of the most vicious serial killers in horror movie history. And she doesn't even show up for the first hour or so. Really, she just shows up at the last 15 minutes. I won't go over the plot because you probably know it already, and frankly, it's not all that important. What is important is that this is fast food horror at its finest. You get all the ingredients of what makes a classic slasher without all the fluff. Gore? Check. Chicks? Check. Great chase scenes? Check. Great villains? Double check. A great plot? Well, I guess you can't have everything. And logic has never been one of this series' strong suits. Don't get me wrong, I love horror with deep themes like Dawn of the Dead, but sometimes you just want to have fun. And if you can ignore the sometimes questionable acting and the fact that most of these people are just here to get killed for our amusement, then you can't do better than these films. I know critics hate it, and blowhard Roger Ebert gave it a 0-star review, but the day I care about what Ebert thinks is the day I watch Force Awakens again. As much as I love Jason like an undead brother, I have to admit this film is probably the best there is in the series. Don't get me wrong, it's not my favorite. Actually, it's no one's favorite. If I had to rank my top 5 of the series, this one probably wouldn't even make that list. But still, this one is more important. It established slashers as a permanent genre, and besides, the story is actually pretty good for once. It doesn't have the highlights of some of the sequels, but it also doesn't have the lowlights either. When it comes down to it, this is one of the most influential horror films of all time, and it's a timeless classic. And who could forget that ending? It may be a cliche now, but back then, no one had ever seen an ending like that. See you later on the Hillbilly Review channel.